While selling your home can be really expensive, there are some things you can do up front just by putting a little bit of money into your house that can save you money and even make you money in the long run. What's going on, friends? Matt Carter here, coming at you with a video which I think is pretty important to go over in today's market. A lot of people think that you can just go up and sell your home yourself and just get away with getting a lot of money for your house given the hot market that we're in. But we're going to go over the selling process in order for you to fully understand how you can maximize your profits from selling your home and just finding out if it's a good time for you to sell given all the requirements necessary. So do me a favor before I get started today, make sure you hit that like, subscribe to my content, and make sure you get notified for all my videos coming up in the future so that if you find this content valuable, you can watch any of my videos coming up in the future and spread the news for anybody that you think would find this content valuable. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to go ahead and assume that you're selling your home and it's going to be worth roughly $500,000. This is just a nice easy number that we're going to use to make the math simple. I used a similar formula when I was going over the cost to purchase a home, which you can find in my previously uploaded videos. So the first cost I'm going to be going over today is probably the most common one and going to be your most expensive cost with selling a home, and it's your realtor's commission fees. So first, it's important to understand how commission is paid out in Ontario. 99% of the time, what's going to happen is the seller is going to be paying the commission to both the listing agent, who's going to be selling your home, as well as the buyer's agent, the person that's going to be helping the buyers ultimately purchase your home. The commission that's paid to both parties is going to come out of the final sale price of your home. So whatever the final sale price is, you're going to minus whatever commission has been negotiated, and it's going to be distributed to both parties involved. So one thing to note is commission is not always a set price. Most of the time, it's actually a negotiated percentage of the sale price that's negotiated between the listing agent and the seller. Now, there are a lot of companies out there that are starting to pop up that are offering flat rate commissions or discounted fees, and I won't go into those in detail. We could have an entire video on its own explaining those other brokerages and their structures. But what I'll leave you with is you are going to get what you pay for in the end. Regardless of which structure you use, a traditional brokerage charging you a percentage fee or a flat rate or a discounted price from one of these new brokerages, ultimately the going rate in London and most of Ontario is 2% to the buyer's agent. Now, while this is technically negotiable, 99% of the time you're going to have the buyer's agent have a signed contract with their buyer saying that they are entitled to 2% commission. Which means if you're offering less than 2% commission on the sale of your home, then the buyer is going to have to come up with that difference, and that leaves a tough conversation for the buyer's agent and the buyer to have, and ultimately you could lose a sale because of that difference in commission price. So for argument's sake, and probably the average going on around the board, especially in London here, is a 4% overall commission paid out of the final sale price of your home. 2% of that going to the buyer agent and 2% of that going to the list agent. The next cost I have on the list is one that we have on both the buying side and the selling side of things, and those are the legal fees. For every real estate transaction within Ontario, lawyers need to be involved because it is a legal process. They need to do a lot of paperwork behind the scenes, make sure that the title is free of any liens, encumbrances, or any restrictions on it so that the title can be transferred without any issues to the new owners. These fees are roughly about $1,300, but can vary depending on the lawyer and the complexity of the situation and the sale. All right, so those two costs, the realtor fees and the lawyer fees, are going to be costs that are going to be associated with any sale for a home in Ontario. Then we're going to get into some optional costs, which are going to be either your choice or situational based. The first one up, and while I consider it optional, I would strongly suggest most sellers do this to maximize their sale price of their home, are any fees associated with repairs, upgrades, and getting their home ready for sale and go to market. Make sure you sit down with your realtor and get some advice as to what repairs and upgrades you can do around your home that's going to give you the maximum return on investment. Now, I'm not saying gut your entire house and renovate it to the nines with the top end appliances, top end finishes, because that won't necessarily get you the most return on your investment. Sometimes little things, just by doing a new paint job around the house, cleaning up some scuffs and nicks on the walls, can go a long way in finding you more money on the sale price of your home. Also, going along the lines of getting your home ready for sale, what I always recommend to my sellers, and I also provide the free consultation, is professional home staging. By having your home professionally staged, you're going to increase the likelihood of getting more people to come and see your house, as well as put in offers on your home, and ultimately raising the sale price of your home. Depending on the size and condition of your house, home staging can range anywhere from $1,500 to $3,500 for an occupied home, or $2,500 to $4,500 for a vacant home. These are just averages for a full stage of your house, but many stagers have other options available to you, like decluttering packages, tips and tricks on how to get your home ready for sale, and partial staging packages as well, which can be a much lower cost to that. Okay, next up on your potential costs are any mortgage penalties that you may have to pay to your bank or your lender. If you're moving within the term of your mortgage, which is generally 5 years on most mortgages, you'll probably have to pay a penalty to get out of that mortgage on an earlier basis. These penalties are calculated based on a couple different calculations, and I'm not going to go into too much detail on them because it's very case dependent and depends on things such as your original mortgage principal, your interest rate, as well as at what portion of the term you are currently in and want to get out of. You can do some more research on yourself just by doing a quick Google search, but the two methods used are 3 months of interest or the interest rate differential. Whatever your situation is, I advise talking to your mortgage specialist or your bank to go over your specific situation in order to have a concrete idea of what you may have to pay as far as the penalty goes. Sometimes this can range upwards of $15,000 depending where you are in your current term. The next potential costs we have are the costs of actually purchasing a home. Majority of people who are selling their house are moving into another house, whether they're upgrading or they're downsizing, which means that you're going to have the associated costs with buying a home as well. This includes land transfer taxes, adjustments, as well as other legal fees, which I won't go into significant detail today because it is an entire video in itself. And in fact, I've made it a video in the past, which you can reference to go over your specific situation. The final potential cost for you would be your moving costs. Now, a lot of people like to do this themselves. You can pack up your whole house, rent a truck, and move everything yourself. But if you have a larger home or you have kids to deal with and it just isn't in the cards for you to deal with your whole house and packing and moving it, you might want to hire professional movers. Generally speaking, professional movers are going to, for a typical 3-bedroom home in London and an in-town move, meaning you're not going out of the city, you're probably going to pay anywhere from $1,000 to $1,400. But again, this is very situational based and depends on a variety of factors. So I advise getting in touch with your local movers and getting some pricing options for your specific situation. So as we tally up everything that we've gone through, you have your fixed costs with moving, which for selling your home, you're probably going to be in the realm of $20,000 for your realtor fees and $1,300 for your legal fees, leaving you with $21,300 plus any applicable taxes that you may have to pay. Tallying up our potential and optional costs, we have any home renos and repairs that you need to do, as well as getting your house ready for sale, which could be anywhere from zero if you don't do anything to your house, all the way up to sky's the limit. It's up to you, and depending on what you and any of the professionals that you speak to determine what you need to do to your home, could range anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 depending on what you want to get out of your house at the end of the day. And this is followed by your mortgage penalty, which again is going to vary from situation to situation, but could run you upwards of $15,000 if you're trying to get out of your fixed term earlier rather than later. Next is cost of purchasing. And I went into specific detail in my past video, so you can check that out to go over the specifics. But for a $500,000 home, on average, you're going to be spending around $34,000 in terms of down payment and closing costs, everything associated with buying a new home. And finally, we got our moving costs. And just to be conservative here, I've slotted in $1,400. So leaving us with a grand total of anywhere from $0 if you don't have any of these potential and optional costs, all the way up to $55,000 plus. Now, these are just rough numbers, and it's very hard to give an accurate representation of what your specific situation is without knowing any details. So I suggest you sit down with a professional, talk over your options, and actually see if moving is right for you given the associated costs, and see where you can make the most money before you go and list your property. I hope that gives you a good idea of what it costs to sell a home in Ontario. Now, there are lots of ways you can save some money in here or even spend more money if you don't do your proper research. So again, I advise that you talk to a trusted real estate professional or anybody who else involved in the process that could help you along in trying to save the most money possible. Thanks for joining me today. And again, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and get notified for any of my videos coming up in the future. Until then,